The Virtual Grip Network and the Bootleg Racing League welcome you to tonight's coverage of the Grand National Series presented by Gargamel's Kitchen as we visit a very familiar racetrack. This is Five Flags Speedway on iRacing as we get ready to approach the midway portion of the 9th season in the history of this campaign. Justin Prince alongside Marty Sakala with our producer this evening in Chaz Dracon. As we get ready to go racing at a facility these drivers have become well acquainted with when it comes to their time in this series, Marty, and in turn, it's been a track that's brought plenty of excitement, but plenty of drama in the past, and plenty of winners.
Absolutely, this is a track that everyone has circled on their list when the schedule was announced for this season. Many different winners, like you said, on the series, a track that a lot of drivers have become acclimated to. If a lot of drivers that race in a super late model when the virtual snowball derby happened in a racing special event, this could be a track that works really well for people. A little bit of medium to high bank track, not the highest banked we have on the season, but a really interesting track that comes to driving here. You don't have to use a lot of brake compared to last week at Langley. Just have to roll through the throttle and then back on the gas. Got to be very careful with that right foot tonight on the exits.
All going to be intriguing how this plays out tonight. Keep in mind the championship points entering this evening. 1 point separates R Shepard and Matthew Thunhorst, who have gone back and forth when it comes to race victories this season and speed shown this season. Kenny Kibbe, Justin Moore, and Austin Bell hit a top 5 points entering this evening. That's those drivers, separation about 11 points amongst them. And in turn, as we look at some of the drivers sitting around the racetrack and get a glance towards how things are in practice, Shepard, as expected, picking up pace late in the session.
Absolutely. Shepard's got a deuce in wins this season. Thunhorst, if you missed us last week while we were at Langley, he had the win in a great race at the end, led all 100. But should be a great race. We should expect those two to be up there. But also, we talked about this pre-race, JP. Watch out for Lowe very closely tonight. He was one of the fastest in practice and has gotten a couple of great finishes here. If he doesn't finish inside the top 3 or the top 2, I'd be very surprised.
Oh, in fact, came away with the late model victory leading all 40 laps earlier tonight to start off the Saturday card of the schedule for pavement action for the series. R Shepard in turn won the Tour modified race. Seeded this one, 70 laps were on that board, more than a second was the gap at the finish. But also keep in mind, the invert expected for the top 8 drivers. That can make things intriguing on some of the traffic management early on in this one, because in some races, only a couple seasons ago, drivers will not be afraid to send it 3 wide, and we've seen the results of that from Matthew Thunhorst, where it sent 4 or 5 cars piling up in 3 and 4 a couple times ago.
Absolutely it has. Drivers, again, short track racing, long 100-lap races here that go within the span of an hour. Drivers aren't afraid to get down and dirty a little bit, use that chrome horn, and sometimes send it in. Langley was a notable track. We could see a lot of drivers send it in inside, but this is a track where I don't think drivers will send it in a lot compared to last week because of that apron with the banking. If you get on the apron, could lead to big wrecks.
That the drivers are getting ready to race under the sunset. Approaching 7 p.m. in sim time with the invert tonight. Pole sitter is one Mark Herzog in the number 57 In-N-Out Burger Kia. Adam Shane starts in second tonight in the Gargamel's Kitchen car, with Justin Morden starting in third for Total Downforce Racing. Different Pat Motorsports competitor Austin Belke starts in fourth this evening, with Kenny Kibbe in fifth. Rounding the inversion spots, R Shepard in sixth, Matthew Thunhorst in seventh. Keep an eye on, though, on the first of the non-invert spots tonight. That is the 07, Tim Chanowski. Expected to show pace this evening. Lowell Jewell, of note, will not make the grid, is in race control this evening. In turn, now move Ruben Altis up a row to 9th overall. Chris Davis rounds out the top 10 for Lone Star Racing.
So when we take a look at this, you see Mike Allen will start from 11th, Ryan Seneker in 12th, that's row number 6. Row 7 will be Todd Liston and Joe Segala. Row 8 is Kurt Smith and James Lowe. Row number 9, Jeffrey Harden and Donnie Moore, rounding out the field of 19. Bruce Pearson in the 22.
Let's look top to bottom at the running order for tonight's action. 19 drivers, 100 laps. No tire changes available, 1 fast repair. in the pits just in case. 75 degrees Fahrenheit, your track temperature, air temp should say today. 79 being the track temperature, partly cloudy skies. It being iRacing day, 15th, B22. One more pace lap before we get rolling. Keys to victory tonight, Marty, especially knowing how the early season has fared out in terms of the 98 and the 8.
Low line will be key tonight, Justin. Hug the apron as much as you can, but if you get a little bit down on that apron, you'll spin out. If you go a couple of grooves up, chances are you will hit that barrier on the outside line. Another key is patience. I could compare this track as maybe a bigger version of Bristol without the high banks. So again, everyone's going to be patient. Long race tonight. It's going to be fun. And Justin, I'm going to use the quote that Buffalo Bills coach Marv Levy once said, "Where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Let's take the green."
It's all time to get to racing. Green flag is out. We're underway from 5 flags. Herzog leads them to turn 1.
Herzog holding the serve as Morton looks for second on Shane, and Shane comes out in the 3rd position. Everyone getting out to a single file run. Matthew Thunhurst inside on the Belky Pepsi machine off the corner. Herzog, meanwhile, leads the opening lap.
Side by side, Matthew Thunhurst is trying to keep the bottom open. Side by side with Austin Belky. He's struggling to keep it up on that middle line. You can defend there for a bit, Marty. But eventually the tires will wear, and you see right there, apex speed much more bigger when it comes to the center of the corner. Eventually it'll allow drivers who get that bottom to get clear.
We'll see that in the long run for tonight. Drivers on the exit will have to be careful. Just try and run that throttle a little bit. Be a little bit of what you see similar to New Hampshire, a little bit of a battle of a pedal fest. Could see that on the exits later on today. Of course, it's normal with the ARCA machines to have the rear end come out from underneath you, so drivers will have to be extremely careful at that tonight. Thunhurst, fastest lap of the race at the moment at a 17:01.
The driver sticking towards the bottom, and this is towards the tamer portion of the scale we've seen in the past at 5 flags in series history, where drivers get into the rhythm, save the tires, wait for the opportunities. The king of saving we've seen in the past in some campaigns, R Shepard. This is a track, though, where he's performed decently. That's won a few times here, in fact, but it's not his best track for the 98.
Absolutely. Shepard, this could be a big advantage for Thunhurst if he could get the points lead. Remember, all the drivers in points, it goes in increments of 1 at a time. We know Shepard and Thunhurst were 1 and 2 the first 2 races. Thunhurst was first, Shepard second last week, so that puts the points deficit down to 1. Battle for the lead starting to develop, though. Justin Morton is closed in on Mark Herzog. He tried to look down to the inside, and Herzog is entering just about a half a groove up compared to Morton in the 9.
If anything, it looks like Herzog is struggling on entry, going a little too hard, Marty, to the point where he's setting it to where he can't get it to turn to the apex.
Absolutely, and behind them as well, Kenny Kibbe is taking advantage. Same with Matthew Thunhurst. Adam Shane lets them go. They're up to 3rd and 4th and trying to close in hard on the top 2. And another tough entry for Mark Herzog. I don't know if it's the tires or if the setup is really affecting him big time, but he is losing ground to Morton. Actually, correction there, Herzog was actually faster by 300ths compared to Morton. I think it's because Herzog's probably holding his groove and using that banking as momentum on the exit.
Here's the bigger thing. Kibbe was about a 10th quicker than the both of them. That's how big of a factor this is coming to be now for 57. Looks like Morton waiting for the chance for the send, just waiting for the slip up. That may be here. Herzog really high up the 4.
Herzog's got the banking, still leads it by about a car length or so. We saw it 2 laps ago again with Kibbe. He was a 10th faster compared to the top 2. Everyone's staying single file at the moment. The question I have outside of this battle for the race lead, Thunhurst is in 4th, and Shepard is behind the slow car of Adam Shane in the 79. I'm interested in how much time that will take off when Shepard gets by, but back up front, Morton closes in. It's down to about a quarter a car length at the moment.
Maybe also waiting for the spots indeed right now. Keep in mind, Matthew Thunhurst, who referred to, is on the move up 3 spots. R Shepard, all this slowing down ahead of the pack, has reeled back in this main group. In fact, everyone is within 1 second of each other, all the way to 18th. this whole train goes about 6.5 seconds back. This is the closest the field's been, for the most part, since the start of the season, at this point even.
Absolutely, very impressive to see the drivers running identical racing lines and break points, not making any big mistakes, and letting their opponents ahead of them race the way how they want to race. Very clean at the moment, very respectful. I think that's maybe the longest run we have seen to start the season, if I recall correctly, before the first yellow, Justin.
We've had some long runs in
Yes.
the middle of races, yes, but some of the earlier races, we've seen the quick caution flag before the long run, or the clarification for what you mean there. But
Yeah.
I get what exactly you mean in terms of how early on restarts can bring some trouble spots. So far, though, Herzog, he's trying to keep it off the wall. He just bounced into it down the backstretch. He is still plowing down off of turn 2.
I think Morton right now at the moment is just letting Herzog drive it out in front of him and just trying to pressure that 57 and he'll make a mistake. If he takes one peek at that rear view mirror, which I know he's doing every lap, just making sure that Morton isn't pulling up to the inside. He's got the spotter on at the same time, but just if he peeks in the corners, that's going to be a big mistake for Herzog, and he's just driving it on the apex at the moment, and no changes amongst the top 5. Actually, correction, Shepard inside for 5th on Shane.
Well, to say, Shepard going back and forth for 5th, in fact. Shane not backing off, though. This will cost them a bit of time, but the 79 trying to keep the fight up on the 98. Shepard giving a lot of leeway here, but this should, based on the marks, be clear right there. Good exit on the corner for Shepard.
Nice overtake by the driver of the 98. He did lose 3/4 of a second after the pass was made to Matthew Thunder, as Austin Belke following in the wings of the 98 in that overtake situation. Continuing up front, though, no change amongst the top 4. All racing clean at the moment, and same strategy from Morton. 21 laps are in the books.
Clean runs so far, and we'd like to quickly take the time to remind you that tonight's action brought to you by Gargamel's Kitchen, a nitrous oxide provider located in Denver, Colorado, and a proud sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League. Our office at 2045 South Valentia Street, or call it 720-707-6178. Morton is looking to give a call to the race lead in the top of the pylon. Still has not been able to find a way around Mark Herzog. Herzog has led every lap so far, all 23 complete.
And you got to give credit to Mark Herzog indeed for how long he has been leading to start off this event. Just holding off Morton right in the bottom line, but he could lose the lead here. No, Morton could not pull up to that quarter panel, and somehow still Herzog maintaining control of this race lead. Very impressive. I would not be surprised if Morton went to make his move by lap 30 or so.
Especially with how that exit's been struggling. Yes, that meanwhile you're talking about, things have really spread out behind Shepard.
Yeah, absolutely. Specifically, Belke and Shane, they've been side by side for like 5 laps at the moment, and Shane is just still fighting so hard to prevent Belke from making a clearance here. I think Shane's trying to bank on a caution right now at the moment, because if this stays, Shane would be on the inside line. If he's in 7th position, that may be the preferred line here for this restart. Shane's not giving up, Belke's not giving up either. This is a fun one with Shinosky waiting in the wings.
This will likely burn up both their tires, though. At this point, with how this has fared out, Shane way too hard into turn 1. He finally clear. Will he take the advantage? Yes, he will.
Yep.
Swap for 6 again. A little bit of a cross back, though, for Shane. He tried it. Not able to work, though, as Tim Shinosky tries to get back in on 4. Keep in mind, Shinosky, one of the quickest drivers for a majority of practice. One of the drivers who started at the back of the pack is still stuck in 8th.
Yep, Shinosky being patient at the moment. Started 8th, currently in 8th position. That's the final invert position at the moment. So if this is where he would have finished, he would start on pole next week, but closing in, Ruben Altis from 11th up to 9th position at the moment. Someone that's been quiet in this race so far, Justin, is James Lowe, the 99. One of the faster drivers in practice. He started from 16th due to what happened last week, and he is in 13th position. It's been very quiet, and he's stuck in traffic with Mike Gall and Joe Segala in front of him.
A little bit of ways back of the onboard with Ruben Altis. There is low, in fact, just taken away 12, in fact, with a crossover underneath the 59 of Allen. Zagala also taking advantage of this is Jeffrey Harden, should say, up 6 spots is the biggest mover in this pack as well. And that's the tough thing, right? If you don't perform well, lose the track position if you are inside the top 8 in theory. If you're low, a track he's been so well at, Marty, this is such the struggle point for him.
Absolutely. The main goal here in every race for the drivers at the moment is to be in top 8 for that inversion spot. Love it or hate it, regardless of whether you're starting in the front or starting in the rear. Outside the top 8, you are in a little bit of trouble. So the situation with low, yes, battle for the lead. Morton takes a peek inside. I don't think Herzog can clear. Yeah, no, great exit though from Morton.
Herzog not wanting to give this up. He's led 33 laps so far. Can Morton get his first lap of the race? Not yet. Morton, though, still has the preferred line. Herzog still pushing up the track. 57 is really trying to get hard on the corner exits. He puts it in the wall, though.
Nice save, though. There could be a little bit of a damage to the side skirts of the 57 thanks to the new iRacing damage model. But 4 cars under a blanket. Kibbe and Thunhorst are in this battle. Shepard, meanwhile, trying to close in. He's 4 tenths behind the top 4. Morton almost clears the 57 yet. I think this could be the lap that Morton leads.
There it is right there on the center exit. Morton, though, having a lift off. Still, Herzog leads to the stripe. Still back and forth for the race lead. Kibbe and Thunhorst are waiting for this to clear on up for a chance to move up.
And low line is where you want to be. Now, interesting move by Kibbe to enter a half a group. Probably get a better corner there compared to the 9. Somehow, Herzog is still leading. He tried to outbrake Morton there. That's crazy. Why would he do that? That could lead to Morton going for the race lead. It's getting close. Herzog overdrove it. He overdrove it there, but somehow still has the lead at the line.
If anything, he gained time from it. Herzog.
And he cleared.
Yes, he got clear from it, and Kibbe's now picking up. Okay, maybe I should change the line. Thunhorst tries to take a peek and turn.
Yeah, Kibbe said, all right, Herzog, you're trying that. Well, come on, I want to go with you. Morton a little bit loose off the corner. He pulls up to the door of Morton for second position. Kibbe's got to run. They're side by side, and Herzog is pulling away up to 4 tenths of a second.
This is a line we've seen pop up around the midway portions in the past, where if it rubbers up with the amount of long green flag laps, this line can work, where you can pinch on down and get the run on the outside. Kibbe has picked it up. He's passed Morton in turn with it, just about. Thunhorst up to the top as well. Shepard is trying to follow the conga line as well. In the second goes Kenny Kibbe.
And Morton is falling down the podiums right now like a rock. Thunhorst makes it look easy off of 2 to take away P3. And they have lost a lot of time to Mark Herzog, a half a second, but I'm really confident that these drivers can make it up on the 57. 41 laps are complete.
Now here's the question, especially if you're the 14 and 8 who are clear. And if you're Shepard, once you try and clear the 9, how do you get Herzog off the top? That will be the question for now 3 of these drivers, as Shepard is now clear, entering turn 1 on Morton.
Man, you gave me the $1 million question already on lap 44. Thanks a lot, Justin. I think these drivers, well, number one, they could, for Kibbe specifically, he could hope for a yellow flag to come out. That would give Herzog the inside line for the restart. And then maybe even Thunhorst or Kibbe combined, just work together, don't go side by side, keep closing in on Herzog. And then I think if I'm them, just try and follow the groove of the 57. And looking at it, they could maybe try and use lap traffic as a pick if we keep this longer and going, because Todd Liston is in turn 4 right now. Herzog's entering 3.
It's an important thing to think about traffic management for the first time. Remember, everyone was bunched up within 6 seconds after 15 laps of this run, but now separated from first 19, 15 seconds. Liston at one point was in the heart of the pack. He's dropped as far back now to 19th. Here is the track map. Keep in mind, Liston is about a straightaway ahead of your current race leader in Mark Herzog. Has that advantage by about half a second in what would be the biggest performance of his career in this series, Marty. That would be a new winner if Herzog could hold on.
Caution is out!
Is out, and it is in the grouping for 7th on back.
Shane and Shinosky both together. And this is interesting. This is going to stack everything up. So like I said, Kibbe wanted a caution. He's going to get it. Now let's see what happens here.
It's going to be interesting how this fares out here, because before we were launching this pack, this was the potential trouble spot, I thought, and we see why.
And that's a little bit of netcode there, I think. Yeah, that's clearly netcode. There was some daylight between Shinosky and Shane. Around they go. Shinosky went around thanks to a bump from Ruben Altis. And this definitely changes everything long-term when you look at the starting lineup for next week. As Chris Davis, a guy who had probably the worst luck of drivers last week at Langley, moves up into the final transfer spot, or excuse me, moves into the final inversion spot. And James Lowe is in 9th position. He's back in it.
Exactly what Lowe needed with this caution flag, but Adam Shane is out of the race with that spin. 18 still running. Todd Liston still is on the lead lap. All drivers are for the halfway mark of this one. And here comes the biggest test of the night. Mark Herzog looked to be in a comfortable spot. Was actually maintaining his gap to Kibbe for about 3-4 laps after all the battling behind him. Now, he'll have to hope he gets clear to be able to hold on to his preferred line after turns 1 and 2.
Big difference from the start compared to the restart when both times he was on the inside line. Of course, the tires are used up. If I'm Herzog here, though, on this restart, and I know I say this a lot in these broadcasts, fire as early as possible. Clear Kibbe, get back on your preferred line. Just be careful and try and make sure you got Kibbe cleared up.
Herzog Motorsports machine warming up the tires, or at least deciding to pace back and forth. By the way, the inversion spot, Bullwood for next week, is being held by one Chris Davis in the 7. Give credit to Davis. The first 2 races we've seen from him, Marty, have started off okay and ended badly. So far, it's started off good.
Yeah, this is his best race so far, no question. Just how can he hang on to it if he can? Because he's got Lowe right behind him, currently up 7 from 16th. Jeffrey Harden's in 10th, up from 19th. They're currently your top 2 in terms of the biggest movers of the race, so they're proud. They probably have even saved their tires as well, trying to close in on the top 8. As we are double them up, we're ready to go back to the green flag.
You set your top 10. Herzog and Kibbe on the front row. Thunhorst and Shepard, the championship rivals, 3rd and 4th. Morden and Pelkey, 5th and 6th. Altis and Davis are inside the inversion spots as well. Lowe and Harden amongst your biggest movers, 9th and 10th. And the In-N-Out Burger machine continue to hold on. Tire spin off the launch. He is cleared for the front stretch.
That's a great restart. Kibbe was caught sleeping on that restart. He may have even spun the tires too. This opens the door for Thunhorst. Inside maybe where you want to be on the short run, but once it gets longer, get up on that middle line. Herzog, though, still using it, but could Kibbe take 2nd place away off the corner? Not yet.
Thunhorst not backing on down. A huge chance to move up into 2nd. He takes the chance. Kibbe lifts. Jake now up to 2nd with that one up 5 spots. And now it gets interesting for the lead. And interesting with R Shepard moving up to 4th behind him.
Yeah, right now, looking at live points, that's what put Thunhorst in the provisional points there. I know it's too early to think about that, but just saying at the moment. Meanwhile, Shepard on the top shelf where Mama hides the cookies, wanting P4 on Morton, who continues to drop like a rock. As meanwhile, Thunhorst, a lower accident turn 2 than we saw. Comparing lap times, Thunhorst is 6 of the 600s quicker than Herzog, and he is there. Oh, man!
Herzog nearly loops it for the lead. Here comes Kibbe for 2nd. Kibbe trying the bottom. Will that work now? No. Thunhorst is clear, holding on to 2nd with the high line. Herzog is trying as hard as he can to make sure that cookie jar doesn't smash.
With them being side by side again, continuing to use up their tires, and Herzog continues to rock it on the middle. Thunhorst clears Kibbe for 2nd, and he is right there, and he is using the same groove as Herzog, but Herzog a lower groove than normal, and Thunhorst nearly got loose.
Herzog continuing to park the bus at the front of the field. Thunhorst going for the diamond, though. nearly to the wall. Thunhorse nearly to the fender. Thunhorse forced back in the line. That got close again.
He took a big chance at it, like what Steve Carell says. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Now he's just waiting back at the moment. He's taking a peek. To get up to the quarter panel, no, not just yet. What I'm noticing as well, Justin, I am seeing 9 drivers, all single file, nose to tail, that could have a chance at winning it early with 40 to go. This is impressive.
Keep in mind, hard in the back end of the train. Low is in the inversion spots in the provisional pole currently. With how things are faring out, a lot can fare out, depending on how things finish here over the course of under 40 laps to go. Thunhorse with a good corner exit. Looking to get inside the 57 again, backing up the corner. Waiting to pressurize Herzog on these exits.
Much better exit for Thunhorse compared to Herzog. Got up to the spoiler that time, but Herzog continuing to outbrake the driver behind him. It's the entry, I think Herzog is better, but the exits is really where Thunhorse shines. Thunhorse nearly gave him a buff draft down the back chute.
How patient does Thunhorse continue to be here? Especially knowing Kibby's behind and R Shepard is trying to close that 4/3 as well. Here's the look. Here's the send. Here's the bobble in the bottom out for Herzog on the seam. Thunhorse to the lead.
Bad corner by Herzog in the center, but he still has it at the line over Thunhorse. I would not be surprised if Thunhorse took a deep chance here on the exit. He's there up by a door. Herzog nearly scrapes the wall. It's going to be tough to clear. A bad 3 and 4. Herzog, first, oh man, that's too close. I think Thunhorse had the lead at the line.
1/1000 of a second still is the race lead for Herzog to the stripe, but will that stand this time? Will that stand the rest of the way even? Thunhorse with his best chance to rip away the race lead for the first change all day. He'll do so at the stripe. Thunhorse to the lead. Can he get clear though, as Herzog is not backing off still?
I'm just surprised at how Herzog's playing defense. Oh, Thunhorse tried to pinch Herzog off on the high side. Herzog nearly got into the wall. That's maybe a good strategy move as we come to the final 30 shortly. And he's still right there. Kibby just waiting in the wings. Shepard more in the top 5. Belke and Lowe making their way up. How about Lowe up to 7th position?
Herzog is back to 2nd. New race leader fully is Thunhorse. Lowe is still up to 7th. It's a 7-car train with 32 laps to go for the race lead. They dodge trouble as Kurt Smith has had a collision and has broken his suspension from 18th position. He was on his own in the back of the pack for 13th. No caution, we stay green.
Now, something I'm really going to be interested in looking at is how the lap times go between the top 2 now that they are single file, and that Thunhorse has gotten ahead of Herzog. From Thunhorse starting in 7th position, he's up to the race lead now. We'll check the lap times here when they come across the start-finish line. Last time it was Thunhorse by 600ths. This time it is by a 10th for Thunhorse. Thunhorse has a big advantage. Herzog is just holding up Kibby and Shepard, and Kibby's trying to take advantage. Oh, they make contact! Herzog, can he save it? Oh, it nearly scrapes the wall, but up on the ceiling, and that just cost him 5 spots.
Herzog tried to clear across Kibby's front nose. Kibby was there though. Herzog all the way to the edge of the top 5. After being dominant early, holding on to the lead for so long, Herzog has dropped to the tail of the lead pack.
And now this is where it gets interesting for Thunhorse. Because of the Kibby contact, the gap is increased up to 3/4 of a second. Thunhorse is so good on the long run. He doesn't want a yellow flag at the moment, or else things could get interesting. Lowe taking advantage for 6th. Meanwhile, Herzog moves off the corner. He just scraped the wall. It's going to help Altice close in. Right now, if I'm Herzog, just trying to hold on to a top 8 spot to get yourself a good starting position for next week.
And now we really see who was saving throughout all of that as well behind Herzog. Thunhorse has let it all out to a 17.8. The average before then was seeing drivers around that ballpark, some of the 9s in fact before, but everyone in the pack has picked up the tempo inside the top 6 with Herzog's tires going on.
Yep, for Thunhorse, still at 3/4 of a second. Now Kibby and Shepard, do they try to work together at the moment? Live points has Thunhorse ahead by a marker. on Shepard. So if I'm Shepard, I gotta try and take advantage for second spot if I want the points to be deadlocked into next week and keep this top 2 stint alive.
Past 3/4 of the way through tonight's action. 24 laps to go, coming to 23 this time by. Well, this is wow. Dunhorst picking up a 10th a lap or so compared to this grouping. Will there be a chance, though, for them to close back up, or is Dunhorst running off to the sunset? And I'm talking about that sun over in turn 3 as well.
Look at that lap time. Dunhorst is running so much better with that clean air, and after the Kibby contact, having that big gap with everyone behind not needing the draft at all. He was running earlier consistent 17.8s compared to everyone else running in the 17.9s. Dunhorst is in the low 17.9s, and I think you can say the same with everyone, but Kibby's really the main man that's holding everyone up. Just had a 17.98. This time by, once more, 17.98. Dunhorst 17.94. Shepard was faster. He wants a piece at second position. Kibby loose on exit.
Kibby really starting to bobble belt. Remember, Kenny Kibby had a fair bit of fighting before moving up to this spot. Now, have to fight once more to defend this time. Shepard giving a lot of breaks, keep in mind as well. Especially with Morton, Belke, and Lowe still also in this train, a little higher up this time. In the bottom, though, is Shepard.
Just heard Dunhorst on the radio say thank you to Liston as the drivers are dealing with lap traffic. That was Todd Liston in the 87 who lets that freight train go by. We'll see what happens if any of those drivers try and make a move. They're looking like the Daytona 500 and Gen 6 when that debuted.
Towards the back of the grouping, keep in mind there are some fights going on right behind the inversion spots. Arden's running away from that because Davis and Altice trying to have a wrestling match for 9th position. Altice at one point was in the top 7. He has fallen off a cliff, though, in these final 25 laps.
Gotta give credit to Harden. Started from the 19th position, has made his way up to where he could get the pole position for next week. Chris Davis is up there in 9th, Ruben Altice in 10th. And Davis has the spot. Now do him and Altice work together to try and close in on the 44. We'll see what happens, though. They're coming to 15 laps to go this time, and still Kibby through Lowe, not making a move on each other yet. Very patient.
Remember, if anyone makes any mistake in this group, better buckle your seatbelt, because this could be the trouble pack. The most cars grouped together in one part of the track currently.
Oh, we nearly saw it there. Lowe was almost on the rear bumper of Belke, and the same went for Morton. Morton entered about a groove higher, thinking that it was time to work, but he tucked back down in lockstep formation, and he is losing a little bit of time to Shepard and Kibby at the moment. They'll see 13 to go this time.
One lap car is up the road. That's Mike Allen giving space to the race leader in Dunhorst. Dunhorst not losing any time, in fact, from that.
But Morton is losing time. Morton's losing time. Belke just got by for the 4th position, so there could be the first mistake there belonging to Justin Morton. It's been a rough night for him. Here's the replay on how the pass was made. Simple. Belke got a run on the bottom thanks to the exit of turn number 4 and takes advantage. Link shot engaged, and now Morton faces big trouble. He's in the wall. Makes a nice save, though. He got caught up in that lap car of Liston. Excuse me.
No,
that
that's
was Allen. Yeah, Allen in the 59. I just completely lost the car when he was trying to match on the brakes. Yeah, he's not going to be happy with that.
Remember the term, use a lap car as a pick? Usually that's not coming to play too many times here. This, yeah, that's going to lead to some tempers.
Absolutely. I'll be interested in hearing what the voice chat's like, or I should say the trackside bar and grill after. And that is just completely split up. That lead pack we saw, the troublesome was brewing. You saw it there, and now we look at the Kibby Shepard battle for second with 9 to go. Kibby loose off of 4. Shepard yet to take advantage.
10 laps to go. Dunhorst now leads by almost a second after that excursion with the traffic. Shepard still cannot find a way to get alongside the 14. Thermal gaming machine continuing to slip and slide off those rear tires. Gordon has fallen 2 seconds nearly behind all this as a result of what happened moments ago. For reference,
Unhorst has increased the lead up to a second. He does not want to see a yellow flag come out right now, or else we'll have a crunch time restart develop. This is your best battle on track for second position, with Kibbe, Shepard, Belke, and Lowe being involved in this. Update on Morton still in 6th position, but Herzog is closing in. That could be a battle for 2nd and 3rd for the starting spots for next week.
Harden still in the inversion spot for the pole sitter for next week if things stick. Approaching the point of no return a couple laps from now. Here's a look now. Chris Davis is keeping Blue and Yellow Machine Company in case things heat on up. But 5 to go. Any caution from this point forward could end the race. Kibbe still in front for 2nd. Thunhorst ahead by a 2nd in total.
Now, what I'm thinking about here is you're pretty much in the battle for 2nd through 5th at the moment. A win's not really on the line. This race will end if a yellow flag comes out right now. Thinking, do we see a bumper being used? I mean, I wouldn't think so, because it's the battle for 2nd. It's not really for a win. So I don't think drivers don't want to really get too antsy or anxious on it.
Looks like at this point, Shepard almost waiting to see if anything else could happen. Not really willing to send it hard to the outside or inside. In fact, he's losing ground here. Maybe cooling the tires off for one more charge, as James Lowe is going for his charge. He wants a top 4.
He had the run there off of turn number 2. That's, my opinion, has been his best corner so far. Could get the run here off the corner. Justin, take it home.
Coming up now, white flag coming this time by to end this action here at 5 flags. Matthew Thunhorst pulled off and away to dominate the final third of this one after making a move on Mark Herzog. The battle is still 1 for 4th behind. Lowe and Belke, wheel to wheel still, neither giving an inch. All of this is well up at the front. 8 of Thunhorst will get to celebrate. Your new points leader, Matthew Thunhorst, he wins at 5 flags. Kibbe 2nd, Shepard 3rd, and in a drag race, it is Austin Belke over James Lowe as they crash for 7th on back.
This is the point where everyone gets all crazy now with the way the race ended. Harden gets provisional pole by 2/10 on Chris Davis. But a fun race. Matthew Thunhorst up by 1 point heading into next week.
Stellar run tonight for the Forge Racing Machine. Seen speed throughout his time in this series. Will this be the time he wins a title? He'll take a page out of R Shepard's celebration book. With that, we'll take a quick step aside as he does the Polish victory lap. You're watching coverage of Bootleg Racing League's Grand National Series, presented by Gargamel's Kitchen from iRacing's virtual 5 flags. Welcome back to tonight's coverage of the Bootleg Racing League and its Grand National Series, presented by Gargamel's Kitchen. As we look at your unofficial race results after what was a dominant final third of the night, Matthew Thunhorst. 1.1 seconds the differential between first and second, with Kenny Kibbe taking that second place position. R Shepard comes home in third tonight, but does lose the points lead in turn. Austin Belke is in fourth. James Lowe did finish in fifth, privateer banner in his signature blue and black machine. After charging from the very back of the pack, mind you, at a track he's won at in the past. Justin Morton at one point was a contender for the race lead, and then he got picked by a lapped car. He finishes in sixth in front of Herzog, who led a majority of the laps for the first time in his career, in seventh. Harden finished in eighth today.
Absolutely. Davis 9th, Altice 10th, Moore 11th, Segallo 12th, Chinosky 13th, Bruce Pearson 14th, Seneker takes home 15th, and the drivers that finished a lap down or more, Mike Allen, Todd Liston, and Kurt Smith. One driver DNF'd, and that was Adam Shane in the 79. He is in 19th.
Keep in mind, Mojo also in race control for tonight, but the celebration is on for your race winner tonight. Matthew Thunhorst had to work to take away the race lead from Mark Herzog, but once he did, he never looked back. Tonight, leading 36 of the 100 laps in what was a dominating final third of the race, only one caution in turn. Matthew, you take the points lead with the victory. How are you feeling? Matthew Thunhorst, do you have a copy?
Sorry, I had a mic issue there. Yeah, Justin, feeling pretty good. I was hoping there wouldn't be a caution, so there'd be a repeat of Langley last week and JR being able to snipe Kenny again. But yeah, I mean, it's a good feeling to stay competitive so far into the season and finally wrestle that championship lead out of JR's hand. But it's only by a point, so goodness, it's not like I've got it by much. And kind of to your point there on the last third, really the only reason I was able to get away so well is just because of how hard Kenny and Mark were battling. And I think me and Kenny were pretty much the same speed, and I was just able to relax and try a couple different things. And because I didn't have Kenny right on my tail, so it's just that there was a lot of good racing up front. There was a lot of tough racing, but my heart was pounding the whole time, and it was just one of those that it's quite the intense race.
I was going to say, how has the pressure been so far for the championship? Because this is the first time all season you and JR have not finished 1-2. And I was actually surprised of you saying you wanted him to pass Kibbe because you would have been tied if he did.
Oh no, I was saying I was glad that caution didn't happen
Oh,
because then we went
gotcha.
back. Yeah, so I saw Kenny be able to keep the second this time, and it's like, shoo.
Misinterpret that there, but is the pressure like though? Is the question.
Oh, well, I mean, especially it's like when, we were all behind Mark and then Justin and, him were going side by side, there are a couple times that I thought Kenny kind of left the hole and, you try to go for that and you're like, oh, not you quite. It's just, again, kind of that last, once I got 30, 40 laps out, I basically had to ask Justin and Austin what the laps were because I wasn't even looking. I was focused so hard and it's just, because there's a lot on the line. One mistake can be the difference between leading and not leading a championship, or getting a win, and just being able to take advantage of the moments when they're there and making sure you save up enough through the race that you can take advantage of them. Your stuff isn't used up. It's just there's a lot going on. It's like I kind of explained to some people, and like they've said back, it sounds like high speed chess, and a lot of it really is. And but you don't know what the next move is, and you don't have a whole lot of time to react and think about it either.
Now, the next race on the schedule is South Boston, and for those who are tuning in for the first time in this series, it's a track where you finished in a drag race for Shepard before. Was the first of what has been a series of drag race finishes with you two. Your opinion on how things could fare out this time at Sobo?
I didn't know it was Sobo, but the second you said that, it was, oh no, not Sobo again. I don't know. I haven't been able to get revenge on JR yet and beat him in a photo finish yet. He's got me 3-0. So I don't know. That's another tight track. I think there'll be a lot of good racing there again, and you know, I mean, a lot of good fast guys here. So we'll just have to see how it plays out. I'm pretty sure it's anything like how it was here, which it normally is. It'll be another exciting race. So folks will have to tune in.
Anyone you want to thank for the run tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank Lowell and BRL as a league and Gargamel's Kitchen for sponsoring us, and congrats to you, Virtual Grip, for your 50th broadcast. It's kind of cool to be a part of that. So congrats to that, and congrats to everybody who raced tonight. We put on a really good show. I think one caution and just a lot of good racing for people to enjoy. So congrats all around.
You heard it right there. A milestone for the broadcast side as well. Congratulations, Matthew, on your victory tonight.
Thank you, Justin.
Matthew Thunhorst taking the checkered flag this evening. For the first time this season, Kenny Kibbe is not in third in the post-race coverage. He's with Marty for the first time in second.
Well, Kibby, you're +1. How's that feel?
Uh, Still pretty frustrating. I mean, I thought I was in the catbird seat there. Got into second pretty early, and well, not really early, but we were running there, and I was pretty confident that we'd have the pace at the end to get by Mark. And then that caution came out, and some guys can make it work starting in second there, but I wasn't the greatest on restarts, and I really had to fight Matt to try to keep him behind me. And but I knew once he got by me, it was going to be so tough to get by him because we were so even. I was able to hold him off, but he was right with me the whole time, so I figured he'd be able to do the same thing to me. And that was true because once I finally got around Mark, but while I was fighting Mark, he built up that basically 8/10 of a second lead and just kind of held that the rest of the way. So I'm happy with second, but a little bit frustrated again that couldn't pull another one off here.
Was the contact with second on Herzog part of what happened to increase the gap as well?
Yes and no. I mean that didn't really check me up any. Mark or I had my spotter set outside about halfway down the backstretch, and I figured that corner's mine. So I went down in there, and he came down. Maybe his spotter told him a little bit late. I don't know, but I'm glad he was able to recover and still have a decent finish. But yeah, so I mean, it didn't really slow me down a whole lot. What slowed me down was just trying to set up the pass more than anything, because I couldn't follow Matt through when he made the pass for the lead. So by the time I got by, it was pretty much over.
Who do you want to give shout outs to tonight on your run?
Just everybody at the Bootleg Racing League for coming together every week. I mean, we had some really good racing this week, as we do every week. Only one caution in this race, which was awesome. You guys at Virtual Grip Network for doing the broadcasts every week. A little Jewel for putting this league on. And thanks to everybody who rides on board with me every week. Yeah, we'll look forward to the next one.
Great job tonight, Kenny.
Thank you.
Kenny Kibbe, our second place finisher. Let's move on to third place, and that is R Shepard. Justin, you got him.
Lowest finish for you on the season, JR. Third spot at the end of this one. How would you describe your affair here at Five Flags this evening?
A lot of riding around, to be honest with you. Just one of those deals where we didn't have a whole lot of cautions, and setup was just super tight through the center of the corner. So, if you tried to race with it too much, you were just going to tear up your front tires. So, yeah, just a lot of riding around. I felt like I had some speed there at the end of the race with Kenny, but just couldn't get the car to rotate the way I wanted to. I close up in the center of the corner, but couldn't get it to rotate late center and on the exit to get the pass done. So, yeah, just one of those frustrating races for sure.
And I asked this to Matthew Thunhorst in terms of the pressure for the championship, because you two have been going back and forth. He's taken the points lead, by the way, by 1 point after tonight. If he passed Kibbe, you would have been tied. What's the pressure been like for your side of things? Because he mentioned a sigh of relief that Kenny did hold on for second.
I mean, good for Matt, I guess. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason to put pressure on yourself in something like this. There's no incentive for it. To be honest. So I race here each and every week, not to win, but to try to enjoy myself. And if I can't do that, then I'll just go spend more time with my family. So that's right now it's enjoyable still, and that's why I come here and race. And points work out however they work out, but you just come into each race and try to have the best one that you can have.
And R Shepard, a driver with more than 50 series championships for reference. Sobo is next. Your thoughts on South Boston?
Depends on the setup. Again, to be honest with you, it's been a track that's been good to me in the past. But the last couple of times, setup's not been where I need it. So we'll take a look at it and see what we have next week and try to make the most of it. But just important things. Try to go out here and try to have fun. That's all that we can do each and every week.
Anyone you want to thank for your run tonight in the Different Path Motorsports Ford?
Yeah, just thanks to the Bootleg Racing League, the Virtual Grip Network for everything that you guys do and giving us a lot of support each and every week. So appreciate that. And to Gargamel's Kitchen for being a great title sponsor once again. They've been around a lot, so that means a lot to have somebody like that gives us support. And of course, my team, Different Path Motorsports, for being there. And we'll try again next week, guys.
Congratulations on the third place run again, JR.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
R Shepard rounds out your podium this evening. Like to thank him along with Kenny Kibbe and Matthew Thunhorst for all taking the time to speak with us during post-race coverage. Marty, first few races of the campaign have been a whirlwind. Shepard and Thunhorst have been dominant at South Boston, where the drag race saga started a few months ago. Back to that track again. It's going to be interesting how race 5 fares.
What a start to the season, Justin. It's been incredible. South Boston should be a lot of fun. If I recall correctly, this should be the second track on the schedule this season where it's really close when it comes to the racing groove between the inner and the outside wall. So that could really pave in a test for the drivers here. But we're looking to a good treat at a legendary short track at Sobo. Tune in, folks. You're not going to want to miss it.
That we'd like to thank you for tuning in for tonight's coverage, as well as the title sponsor for this series, Gargamel's Kitchen, a food-grade nitrous oxide provider located in Denver, Colorado, and a proud sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League. Visit their office at 2045 South Valentia Street. Give them a call at 720-707-6178. The next time action will hit the racetrack for BRL Grand National Series competition, as talked about, will be next Saturday, February the 5th. Coverage expected to start 8:55 p.m. Eastern Time from South Boston. And the next time VGN will be live to add to that 50 total mentioned by Matthew Thunhorst will be Monday, January 31st, and at 9:05 p.m. Eastern Time, the Autobahn Sports Car Challenge will go to Detroit's Belle Isle to be able to race on its street course to see who will make it around in the Motor City. Again, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, January 31st. With that, we'd like to thank you once more for tuning in. For my co-announcer tonight, Marty Sakawa. For our producer, Chaz Draycott, I'm Justin Prince. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a production of the Virtual Grip Network. Congratulations to your race winner, Matthew Thunhorst, your victor at 5 Flags.